when you want to assess a buyer, when you want to assess the risk of a party which is asking you for a credit, right? Today, Recordent can offer three different sets of information. First set of information, we call it a credit history, which is the information primarily available with the credit bureaus. We are one of the credit bureau partners. We work with Equifax, which is one of the world's largest credit bureaus, and we are partners with Equifax where we fetch the data of the required business information. Of course, it all happens based on the consent. What does this report consist of? This report consists of the information of the distributors, loans with the bank, credit card repayments with the bank, and any other line of credits availed with the banks. And this information definitely helps to a certain extent. If it's all negative, then it's a big negative sign. You may not want to do business with them. Let's assume that it's all positive, or manufacturer might think, okay, this looks all good, but this distributor is paying all of them on time just because they're banks. What if he's not paying to non-banks? That is a separate set of data altogether. That set of data, which I mentioned, is a payment history, and to put probably a better classification as a non-banking payment history. Now, this non-banking payment history is typically about how this distributor is paying to other non-banking organizations. That could be his vendors, that could be his electricity bills, or it could be any other rents to of the godowns or whatever to the landlords. All of those. Now, this information is also very critical, and this information also helps you understand, okay, his financial health with respect to banking may not be great, but maybe this is good, or the vice versa. With banking is very good, but whereas non-banking is very bad, right? So these two sets of information now helps you a lot in making a decision. The third bucket I mentioned is the assessment of the buyer in terms of the credentials. What are these credentials about? Whether now the credentials typically about whether the PAN and the GST are correct. And also, interestingly, you can also check whether they're compliant in terms of the GST payments. Do they have, whether their directors have any lawsuits on them, or whether the particular business has been in the news for wrong reasons, or if you can also check the EPFO information, and whether they are paying any provident fund for their employees. So this is a third set of information, typically around the profile of the company and the profile of the customer who's coming and asking you for credit. This profile of the company can capture all these sets of information around GST, around ITR filings, all of this. So this also gives you a set of information to make a decision.